Stand back here with me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're shouting for the Catalans. These are the orange tractors.
Try scorer for Normanton Freestone number 4, Pip Ellis.
To Westminster. By law, I've got to give you a quick safety announcement, not to alarm you in any way, just to point out a few things about this vessel. Would he be interested in us doing so?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Anyone interested in a peaceful journey? I'm not a professional tour guide in any way, shape or form, just a member of crew. So I might make a few mistakes on our way up, so you will have to bear with me. Now over on your left hand side is the HMS Belfast. She's been permanently moored here since 1972. Confiscated goods would have been stored in the basement of that building for 1 year and 1 day before they're destroyed by incineration. Well, that's what they tell us. Now well done that lady, Sir Michael Caine. Over on your left-hand side is London Bridge City. It's basically a city within a city. Has its own mayor, has its own police force and its own fire brigade. It's 85% owned by the Kuwaiti royal family. They pumped all the money into that development when it sprung up around about 20 years ago now. Now very shortly it'll be coming into view. On your right hand side you'll see a candle shaped column with a gold tip. It'll come into view in between the concrete buildings to your right. This is Christopher Wren's monument. Now this has a bit of Anglo-American history, the subject of London Bridge. Do we have any Americans on board? Built 35 years ago, it was built to replace the previous one, which was sold to the Americans. Mr. John McCulloch, who was an oil tycoon of worship. Buried in the crypt there is Edmund Shakespeare. He was the younger brother of William Shakespeare. Baptised there 400 years ago was John Harvard, the son of a local butcher from Bermondsey, very nearby on the south side. He later on in his life moved to the States and founded the famous Harvard University in Massachusetts. A working replica of Francis Drake's vessel, the Golden Hind. This working replica, like the original, has also been around the world, twice in fact, once more than the original. Now if you've got small children, I would thoroughly recommend a visit to the ship. You can board the ship with the children. The children must solve two problems. Firstly, what to do with our vast amounts of household refuse, and secondly, what to do with the county of Essex. Shouldn't really say it in case there is anybody on board from Essex, but if there is, now at least you know exactly what the name is the bridge. The reason for this is because the approach roads are an absolute nightmare to find. The only people who find this bridge on a regular basis. So if you do see anyone up on top of the bridge, give them a little wave, it'll probably cheer them up, because the chances are they're completely lost. That fella has been up there now for 5 weeks. It's also evidently the narrowest road bridge in London. Building on your right hand side with the 4 pillars to the front, that's Windmer's Place. Headquarters, you could go into the drinking dens, the gambling dens, and of course the houses of negotiable affection. All funded ironically by the bishops of Winchester. They say that the profits, the ill-gotten profits from this shady area, actually built 2/3 of the Winchester Cathedral. Keeping to your left hand side you'll see a white timber framed building. This is a working replica. A working replica of William Shakespeare's original Globe Theatre. To this day they carry out Shakespeare's finest plays in the building just as they were carried out over 300 years ago. That's the only building left in London with a thatched roof. They were banned after the Great Fire of London. Now if that flag above the theatre is at full mast, that means there's a performance on in there tonight. It could be any one of Shakespeare's great plays, it could be Macbeth, it could be one of the other great Shakespeare plays. That's the only built by Her Majesty the Queen. The bridge had its grand closing by the Metropolitan Police. The reason for that is because the bridge was shaking very violently, so much so that the people up on top were actually stumbling over. Anyway, they had to strengthen the supports of this bridge at a further cost of £6 million. And now you can safely cross it at your own peril. Now, the architect of this bridge was a man called Sir Norman Foster. Now, they interviewed him on regional TV about his bridge. They said, "Sir Norman, what exactly went wrong with your bridge?" His infamous reply was, "There's nothing wrong with my bridge. It is just the way that people walk across it." Right, that goes on and off. They've got a half-eaten curry. They've also got an unmade bed and a burnt-out car. It's that good in there. Last time I went, I actually dropped my wallet. Anyway, I realised 5 minutes later just what I had done. I retraced my footsteps to the exact spot where the wallet was, and there was actually a very large crowd of people standing round it in complete amazement. It's that good in there. 4 feet high. It took Christopher Wren 30 years to construct. It was his masterpiece, and it has the second largest unsupported dome in the world, second only to St. Peter's in the Vatican City of Rome. Wren, the great architect, he's buried in the crypt. Having a good time? Yeah? Yeah, I'm having a good time too, so we're all in the same boat. Now, if you once we're through here, if you have a look either side of you, you see 12 red columns. Now, these are the original supports of the old Alexandra Railway Bridge. This was the great engineer Brunel's old bridge. He used to carry the steam trains from the Latham and Dover line across the river and into the old St. Paul's station, which used to stand on our right. Now, 40 years ago, they deemed this bridge unsafe. They said it was not strong enough to carry the more modern, heavier trains, so they removed the top. However, these 12 red columns remain, because if they were to take them away, they would undermine the foundations of the surrounding bridges. The third and final bridge is the actual Blackfriars Bridge, opened by Queen Victoria in 1869. Now, this attractive bridge is said to be the most romantic on the River Thames. They do say if you kiss your single men on the boat, you can come up to the wheelbox and give the captain a kiss. He's very open-minded, and it does make him feel very loved on these lonely summer afternoons. Over on your right-hand side, you'll see a building with a steep. Have a look between the 5 arched windows, you'll see 4 figures sculpted into the stone. From left to right, then, famous ex-scholars and pupils to attend the school are John Milton, Isaac Newton, William... Not really, that is Francis. That is Francis Bacon on your right. Apparently Beckham's just around the corner next to Wayne Rooney. Over on your left hand side you'll see a very large red brick building. That is the Oxo Tower. Formerly London's largest cold meat store up until 1950, when you add them to boiling water. That's if you're intelligent enough to actually remove them from the silver wrappers first. Anyway, what you've got over there these days in the Oxo building is you've got a shopping mall in the bottom 2 floors. You've got 5 floors of luxury apartments, each go for £2 million each. Not bad, considering that 40 years ago they were all council flats. And on the top floor you've got an exclusive restaurant owned by the store Harvey Nichols. Now, if you're wondering why there's a congregation of people outside the restaurant on the balcony, the chances are they're weighing up their options. They've probably just eaten a rather nice lunch or dinner, whatever time it is, I've lost track today. And they've probably just received their bill and are wondering whether to pay or whether to jump. If you go up though, unfortunately, that one's just been snapped up by a property developer, and within a couple of months, that too will be a luxury apartment. The archway on your right hand side is Temple Arch. Temple Arch is a boundary mark that splits the City of London, we're leaving, and we're now entering the City of Westminster. The white vessel on your right hand side is the Wellington. formerly the New Zealand Navy's Royal Yacht, and was so up until 1942. She came to London in 1974 and ever since has served as a floating livery hall to the Company of Master Mariners. Over on your left-hand side, you'll see a black and white glass-fronted building. This is Kent House, the headquarters of LWT. Now, if you're from London and you watch Richard and Judy, London Tonight, or any of the other rubbish we were unfortunate enough to get on Channel 3, you might have noticed they used this particular part of the River Thames as a backdrop to their programmes. Now, they are known to... So there you go, if you're sitting here with your wife, give them a big wave. If you're meant to be at work or you're with someone else's, congratulations, you've just been found out. Over on your left-hand side is a very unattractive part of London. It's London South Bank. Now, so ugly is the building over there with the electronic display board on the front, the National Theatre, that for 6 years running it's been voted London's ugliest building by leading architects. Now, earlier on this year, Prince Charles judged the competition. He said the building is no doubt the carbuncle of the South Bank, and he went on to add that it reminded him of a massive set of drawers. I can't see it myself, I think it looks more like a multi-storey car park. I think what he was meant to say was it reminds him, chose an expensive stone, building it in a self-cleansing Portland stone, which explains why the faces are very clean and the underside is very dirty. The rain cannot penetrate beneath the bridge. Now, before you worry about this bridge collapsing in on us as it was built by ladies, I will assure you there was a man in charge, or at least he thought he was. Over on your right hand side you'll see a building with a square black roof. That's the riverside entrance to the world famous Savoy Hotel. And you want to stay there tonight? One of the cheap rooms up there will cost you £400. One of them top floor rooms or suites will cost you £1,100. In the morning when you're thirsty, a pot of tea for two is £25. Keeping to your right hand side you'll see a granite column. This is Cleopatra's Needle. Nothing to do with the Egyptian Queen Cleopatra, but it was a gift from the Egyptians, because during the Battle of the Nile, when they saw off Napoleon and the French, we gave them an almighty hand, supplying them with soldiers, arms and ammunition. In return for us giving up our lives, the Egyptians gave us a stick of rock. There's also evidently an identical one was built for the Festival of Britain in 1951. And up until about 30 years ago, that building was this country's premier concert and entertainment venue. Frank Sinatra and Shirley back the people on the footbridge because they say if you can get someone to wave back, it will bring you years and years of luck. Oh, sorry, I'm actually on the wrong page. It's actually years and years of bad luck. If you look either side of us, you will see red brick supports. These are the original supports of a suspension bridge to span the Thames here at Charing Cross. Anyway, there's also a footbridge on this side. We got any wavers up on this one? Yeah. Got any wavers on this one? Up the youngsters there in love, young love, it never lasts. Over on your right hand side we've got a Gothic style building. This is Whitehall Court Mansions, London's first ever luxury, as far downriver as Australia. Now that's not actually been proved yet because there hasn't been a clear day in London since it was built. Now when that first opened back in 1999, that was quite reasonable. British Airways only used to charge a £5 for a ride, or a flight as they like to call it. Anyway, due to its success, it's carried 28 million passengers in the last 8 years. This year British Airways have put the price up to over £15. This is County Hall, the former headquarters of the GLC, the Greater London Council, and it was so up until 1986. To be precise, the Margaret Thatcher years. Then it lay derelict for quite a few years. But what we've got over there these days, inside that enormous building, is we've got the 5-star Marriott Hotel. There's actually 4 miles of corridor inside that hotel. You've also got 4 fine restaurants over there. You've got a robot museum. You've got an FA Premier.
Probably have 2 hours on, 2 hours off.
It's on the map, but I don't know does it right.
You carry on. No, that's. Oh, come on, I think it's time to go.
Rachel, it's time to go home. Rachel! Behave.